I don't want to round on anybody, so I'm going to try and keep this as short as I can, but it's more of an educational piece to show that it's really important in life to have humility. Respect those that support you. Don't bite the hand that feeds you, pretty much. If someone invests in you and supports, then have humility, um, and be respectful of that. Some people, when they get fame, recognition, they lose their minds. And case in point with this situation with Lieutenant Dan. Now, I've done a video on it in the past, only one brief one. I think it was brief, I don't know. To clarify, really, because a lot of people don't do that, let's just go back a bit. So during the recent hurricane in Florida in October 2024, the guy, well, his name's Joe. I don't know the rest of his name, but his name's Joe, and a guy named Tampa Terrence was checking on him as the hurricane was approaching, because everybody else had took shelter, everybody else left, some people left the state of Florida, there all sorts of things were going on. And he decided to stay in Tampa, docked at the harbour in Tampa. And he said he's going to ride out the storm in his little boat. And he pretty much said that God, it's a sign from God to do so. So he's not worried about anything because he's just doing what, he knows he'll be fine. And he rode it out, crazy. It went up against all odds. He could have capsized, could have done anything. He survived it. So that was like a feel-good story. You're like, okay, this, you're sort of invested in this to a point. It's like, okay, because it's nice to have good story, especially after such a disaster. Feel-good story. But it took a turn for the worst after. Now, bear in mind, okay, he's the central figure in the story. But if it weren't for I can't remember the name. Tampa Terrence. If it weren't for him, then Lieutenant Dan wouldn't have the spotlight. No one would know his story. He wouldn't have the platform. He has the platform because the other guy made him popular. And that's really the main thing. It's a lot easier for someone to make you famous, for instance, than you to make yourself famous. You can talk about yourself. You can have this platform to try and create. But so when someone else talks about you, it gives you more prominence. It makes people more interested. That's effectively the case. So he might think, well, I'm the star. Like, it's all about me. Blah blah blah. Yeah, on your own, people might not have listened. It's just the way life is. People might not have listened. Now, right, none of us know these people personally, so all we can do is go based on personas and behaviours. It seemed to me that his Tampa Terrence, he had a better morals. Of course, he's gaining from that, and he's improving his notoriety by covering these things in the same way maybe someone in the news would. So, okay, there's maybe an angle, but I don't think it was ever like a malicious angle or anything. Okay, he's gaining slightly from it. Yeah. But Lieutenant Dan, effectively, from this situation, was getting a GoFundMe, which was over at $30,000 at the time. It really climbed. I think it's gone beyond that now. And then beyond that, Aidan Ross, one of the main streamers, it's not my forte or my interest, but anyway, he offered him, he said he'll buy him a $100,000 boat because his boat's not very good. If he survives, he'll sort the boat out for him. And then he'd offer him a deal to stream as well, like a really, really, really big deal. I think it was like $2 million. I think it's something crazy. And effectively set him up with some bodyguards if he needs some. And he'll like get sort him some equipment out and things. Effectively, once you've survived the storm, it helps the platform, of course, because it's a popular figure. He's prominent now. And then maybe show his life, his voyages. It's a feel-good story, isn't it? And I was looking forward to that. I thought that could be cool. Okay, we can follow this. What's he up to after? If only he was humble. He isn't humble. So what's happened here? This $40,000 GoFundMe, which I think increased, people are now getting refunds on. So it's getting smaller and smaller. Now, that Tampa Terrence, he couldn't do it in his name. I don't know if it's because he's too young or he didn't have the facilities. But Lieutenant Dan doesn't have ID, so he can't get money out of the bank. So he's had to get a friend to Tampa Terrence, had to get a friend to use his name on the GoFundMe. So what they've managed to do is withdraw $7,000 off that money and gave it to him. He's saying he's $100 short. It's very pedantic, and it's like, what are the odds of someone just taking $100 off top? Either you lost count or who's around you that maybe took it. But of course, with any financial gains, there's tax implications. So who would want to be on the receiving end of that money if it's not for you? And you get, and then I think it's the IRS in America. You're going to be held accountable for the tax on that, isn't it? Because it's seen as your income. So yeah, who would want your name attached to that if it's not your money? So from that side of things, that's getting a bit sketchy. He's saying now, I'm going to sue him. He said he's going to sue Tampa Terrence because he hasn't had his GoFundMe money. and he's going to take it to court and things. And it's like, mate, if only you had an awareness to realize people are not invested in your story anymore. You've tainted the whole image. This is the real problem. He was so rude to Tampa Terrence, and he was really ungrateful for things. The way he was coming across. People sent him peanut butter, for instance. They were sending him gifts, and he was going, "This is too big." I said I wanted a small pot. Where am I going to put this pot? And he was getting really angry about it, like frustrated with everything. And it's like, mate, when someone offers you something, be graceful, you know. So I found that really quite rude. But there's so many nuances to it. I'm probably going to skip and forget certain parts, you know. He replaced Tampa Terrence with someone else who was clearly a leech. And people were shouting out saying, "I know this guy. He's leeching. He's done it to other people in the past." And he's going, I'm not interested. He's a good guy." It's like, mate, you've just replaced someone of a saint with someone of a devil. That's literally what you've done. The devil's temptation. The fame got to your head. If you stayed humble, you would have had so much. Like, for instance, let's say God did ordain them. They gave him this opportunity. Maybe it was redemption. Maybe because he's been in jail and all sorts of things, you know. So maybe it was God giving you a chance of redemption in the public spotlight. So you had the chance to go down the path of light. Instead, you chose victim mentality and biting the hand that feeds you. And effectively, you chose the path of the devil. That's how I see it. And it's now a case of the GoFundMe's disappearing. Now he's made a statement saying he doesn't want the GoFundMe anymore. He's going to auction the boat instead. I think that's a case of he wasn't going to get the GoFundMe money anymore because it's getting taken away. And I think he's trying to save face by saying he doesn't want it, which I think is nonsense. The boat, I don't know if he's still getting the expensive boat. I'm not sure what the situation is that because he's been so disrespectful. It'd be stupid for anyone to just give him something. And then you've also got the situation with the streaming deal that's been taken away from him now, and it's been given to Tampa Terrence. Tampa Terrence didn't ask for any of this. In the same way, Lieutenant Dan didn't ask for any of this. But how you behave when you have opportunity says an awful lot about your character, you know. So whether anyone wanted it, it's like, what did you do when you had it? That's the big problem. Like Lieutenant Dan said all along, I'm not interested in the money. But as soon as the money was on the table and it became tangible, all of a sudden he was really interested in the money. And I thought incredibly disrespectful. So Tampa Terrence wasn't doing it for the money. Well, so he says. And I don't think he was, to be honest. When you watch content, you get a feel for someone. Again, maybe he's expecting his social media to grow. But then if he's going to do kind things, it's nice to have people like that, you know. Maybe his content grows and he helps people. So effectively now, the deal that was been given to Lieutenant Dan has been given to Tampa Terrence. And apparently what the deal is, he gets a salary, so he gets paid every month. He'll get money for this deal. He has to live stream, but he'll be given resources to help the community, and that's what his content would be based on. So he'll get money for himself, but he'll also get money to distribute to help other people. And I thought, well, that's more like it. That's what should have been happening in the first place with these live streaming and stuff, you know. Do feel-good stories, help the bloody community, have a positive impact on the world. And Tampa Terrence has shown that he has good morals, you know. He's been as kind as he can throughout, even in the onslaught of chaos. And I just think greed showed itself. And now what's happened is this is what I'm getting at. Really, is if on the one hand, if you had humility, your life could have changed and had so much blessing to it. He would have had Dan would have had his $2 million contract. He would have had a brand new $100,000 boat. He'd have had all this lovely equipment so he can stream his stuff, and he could have had a beautiful life. Now he's having to auction his boat at best to get some money because he only has that $7,000 he had, which I'm guessing maybe he's blown a little bit. I don't know. And last resort now is that, and his star is fading now. People are just not interested anymore. Even I'm not looking. And the problem is people follow. Well, it's reached a point now where I'm not everybody, because again, everybody has their own opinion. But it's reached a point where a lot of people are following just out of morbid curiosity. They're not following now to support. And that's the thing. You see, you've got a lot of followers, you think they're supporting you. They're not following to support. They're following just to keep an eye on what's going on. Most people, I would say heavily, at least 90% are favouring Tampa Terrence. And that's just how it is. So they keep trying to change the narrative, but it's not affecting anybody. People see through the crap. Once you've shown your colours, you've shown your colours, you know. And it's all this little angling to try to posture, but it's like you've lost everything. You had everything to gain, and you've now lost it all, which was really stupid. Now, they might not act like they care, but I think deep down they'll know they've screwed that one up. But then it shows kindness prevails, you know. Because that Tampa Terrence can do good things now. He's been given the platform. He was taken advantage of and maybe treated like poorly. Didn't expect anything in return, and by not expecting any return, he's been given everything. I find that great. You know, don't be corrupted. I always call it the fool's gold. Do not be corrupted by the fool's gold. But anyway, I'll show a little bit of the video. I'm not going to show. Oh, it's not even that long, so we'll show a little bit.
Morning, TikTok. How's everybody doing this morning? I got woken up by the Tampa police about being in the park and not being registered, and he wanted to see my pump out loud because he came and
Well, the real problem with him is he's been given so long apparently to move. The police keep telling him if you don't move, you're going to get arrested because apparently the boat's not registered and he's not allowed to be there. He needs to he just needs to vacate the area. He needs to get away. He needs to move. Otherwise, he's going to get arrested. I think towed. But he still stays there, acting all oh, I'm confused. This isn't working. I don't know what's going on. Always the victim. That's the real problem. But he's trying to sell a boat now that hasn't got any title to it, apparently. So I don't know how you do that. If you've got a vehicle, you have to be able to provide the registration. If you can't, I mean, what is someone buying here? The idea that they have the boat and it can get taken away. It's big.
I was trying to get him out of here. I said, I got to pee. He just woke me up. He said, where are you going to go pee? I said, in my coffee cup. Because that's a big problem as to where you go to the bathroom when you live on a boat, because you're surrounded by the water. Although you pump your shit in my water, the water I'm on. Never mind. All right.
I knew what he did there. I see through people so quick. He knew. He was being all cocky because he was dealing with the police. So he was saying that, where's he going to go toilet and things like this? Because obviously you can't start contaminating the water. That's the real problem, isn't it? That's where the problem is. So he's like, I'll put it in a cup. And then he's just like messing about, like saying the truth. Literally, he's just going to put it all in the sea, really. But he knew he was about to say it. So he quickly went, oh, whatever. Don't worry about that. Because he was about to slip. And he's quite deceitful, but I see through the deceit. I find it quite humorous. But yeah, it's just got no. When people play the victim their whole life, that's how I'm getting from this. The whole story just feels like the victim all the time. No matter what the story, the narrative is, they'll fix it to make them the victim in it. And all it ever needed was a conversation, And like I said, the life could have changed for the better. I'm not interested in all these stories, really. I mean, this social media shit, I get fed up with it. But with this story, for me, it epitomizes in the public forum a very quick transition from an opportunity to do good things in this world and have a blessing bestowed upon you, and literally destroying the opportunity yourself without maybe realizing at the time that that's what you was doing, because you were so in your ego. That you've literally destroyed it all because you had no humility or respect for other people. So God, again, they say that in the Bible, that God can give and God can take it away. I see that as this.
Right. So listen, I'm not getting that GoFundMe money. I'm putting up this boat, my boat, that's been through 2 major hurricanes. Okay, I'm putting this up for auction.
I'm not going to go anymore. He bores me. But he's put it up for auction. It's delusion. It's delusion. First of all, a boat that's battered. Only people with morbid curiosity would be interested. The reality is, these people, they think they're famous, and for a period they are. But in a year, 2 years, even 6 months, people are not going to care anymore. The story's going to run its course. There'll be new stories to work on. And the idea that he's putting it up for auction within a week, thinking there'll be a lot of interest. I'll be surprised if there is genuine interest, not people just putting random auction bids in just for the sake of it to wind him up. But if you don't own the title, I don't see how you can do a sale. But I don't see how anyone would genuinely want a dilapidated boat that's really seen better days. That I think the engine's got a problem, it don't work or something, and it's just like, who wants that crap? Don't. Because their status is high, they're in terms of followers. I think he's got 600,000 followers at the moment. So the trouble is, they just seem to think their heads in the clouds, and eventually have to come back down to reality. Which is why I say all these influencers, the people in the social media and the one in the spotlight, their stars wane eventually, and they'll cling to power and whatever they can and try and stay relevant. But then they've got to just come back down to earth like the rest of us. Get back to reality. You just don't lose your mind. Following greed. Keep yourself humble, have humility, respect those who help you, just appreciate your journey. And you won't find yourself in a similar situation to this, because it's literally, don't posture yourself above other people. Keep yourself grounded, keep yourself level-headed, and you won't have these issues. Because that's just being sincere as well, isn't it? It's like, don't let the devil tempt you, because the devil will tempt you into chaos and you'll lose everything. Hence this situation.